Thanks to the grace of heaven, virtuous masters, grand predecessor and predecessor, and thanks to the mercy and compassion of the transmitters and everyone here for giving me the opportunity to share my Tao cultivation. My name is Jill. I received Tao in May 2014. My Tao cultivation has not been steady. I can always also feel the limitation to progress the way how I understood. Not doing enough of letting go and too much of ego. Very often the human consciousness takes place than the true self. I learned not to see myself differently than others, although I have received Tao. The only difference I knew, and I know, is that I am fortunate to have the opportunity to learn about Tao. As we learn more about Buddha nature, we will begin to accept the concept or on our path to the truth of all is one and one is all. Or it's also called Buddha Famen, the one or the only way, or the direct translation is the Dharma door of the non-duality, and to contemplate what it really means. How is its significance to my daily life? Understand to use words to express principles that cannot be spoken and not speaking principles that can be spoken. Why have we not yet become Buddhas? It is because we think, oh, look at how smart I am. I'm much more intelligent than others. Because of this attachment or self-admiration, we cannot become Buddhas or someone who yet nearly to become sages. A sage sees all people as sages, so he is sage himself. The Buddha sees all living beings as Buddhas, so he is the Buddha, him or herself. So how do we begin with the journey of all is one and one is all? How do we get into the level of non-attachments and be able to assimilate into the true emptiness or the sunyata? It is fortunate that we received Tao, but can we cultivate in accordance to our true nature, patiently, diligently, and non-stop to cultivate until the last breath? I always find it challenging because of the habits from the 6 roots. Need to compromise with them, like Rochelle said in his Buddha nature class, but often they remain strong and wanted to be the master of this body. Personally, I think this pandemic has forced most of us so quickly to adapt new environment. Not only you can't go anywhere outside of the house during the weekend, but trapped home with the same people. As we all probably know, our own family members are the most challenged people and least patience with each other. I still practice giving my maximum tolerance, paying attention when anger arises, paying attention to what my mouth wants to say. As I cultivate, I should not expect others to meet my personal expectation. As a cultivator, I learned my anger rose because others can't meet my own expectation. It is not easy to work from home. Many issues raised and more than what one can imagine. Kids on their iPads and cell phones all day long. I constantly need to remind them to take breaks in between and to check on them to see if they are really doing their schoolwork. I found myself gotten busier than ever than working from the office. It took me more time to explain what needed to be done to my student helpers since we're not face-to-face and can't see each other's facial expressions. I need to be more organized and more patient than ever. This pandemic is a wake-up call for most of us to go back to the very fundamentals. Look at how the virus is being transmitted. Washing hands should be something we learned when we were little kids. Keep your hands to yourself, like the great school teachers would tell their students. This is a reminder that we shouldn't forget the very natural good habit of our own. Other way of the virus to be transmitted to others is from spreading saliva, sneezing. I think we learn to cover our sneeze while with our elbow and not your hands. I think we learn not to eat and talk or talk and eat. We really should pay attention to these small details and begin to form good habits. In the Dhamma Sutra, was the Buddha speaking while eating? It is not a bad time to encourage people to become a vegetarian, but can't force them at the same time. The news report did say that it started with consuming bad meat, but it was human who injected the virus into the bats and released them into the wild. At least that was what I heard. Tao is not forceful and not by force. Instead, it's natural and so natural that it's a self-nature. Remember the 4 comments? Ordinary, regular or routine, genuine, plain or simple. How Tao can exist in daily life and how it exists in everywhere requires one's own realization. How one knows one's Buddha nature requires true cultivation and practice. There's no way to pass on that experience to someone else. It is the experience that one needs to find on one's own. It needs to be found in moments, because that is when our Buddha nature reveals. We all have the same true nature, and we can't underestimate the energy it possesses and how it can help us to move forward with our Dao cultivation. The source of energy that helps us to cultivate should come from our true nature or our innate, unlike the external, which the false self. This is the one that we use the most in our daily life, attaches to desires and delusion. Desires bring afflictions, therefore can't transcend samsara. To find our true nature, we need to practice let go of all karmic affinities and do not give rise to a single thought as often as we can. The ideal situation is to have this continuous practice become part of our lifelong cultivation. It has not been easy, but we should give the chance to make that initiation with persistence, perseverance, and must encourage ourselves to practice diligently. That roughly concludes my Tao cultivation at the same time, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. So do you think, so this pandemic has made you a little bit more mindful, I guess, right?
Yeah, it certainly did.
Yeah, but yeah, so obviously the key is that this mindfulness we should always, sometimes we forget, and then so something can remind us, like this current situation, and hopefully we, even when the situation changes or goes back to normal, then we still mindful. Right.
Yeah, that's actually the challenge part. Can you really remember what we're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think especially you also can tell even Eddison has a family temple, so you should let people know too. Yeah, you guys have been doing very well. Good job. Yeah.
Thank you, Transmitter.
Yeah, the other thing is Florida. I just saw the news now on my cell phone. Florida just break the record today with 15,000 more cases. Okay, just record breaking. So everybody take too lightly. So that's why the Buddha and God also tell us this is a test for all of us. So people did not take too seriously. It's a record breaking for different states now. So it's pretty bad. 15,000 cases a day now. Yeah. So just one state alone. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, looks like they're trying to get herd immunity. But anyways, okay. Yeah. So next, is it Eddison? All right, go ahead.
Thanks to the grace of heaven and transmitters and predecessors. And, everyone for this opportunity to share about my Dell experience. As Jude mentioned, we received Dell in May 2014, and since then, a lot of things happened to our life. It went not very smooth. It's not always good, and there are bad parts as well. So I will share a bad experience, but it's a good as well. So, was it 2 years ago? I think it's 2 years ago. We were traveling in Taiwan during the summer break. So it was just a vacation, a normal vacation. And then we were in going up the mountains. I just felt weak. It's like, oh, carrying this luggage up the mountain kind of hard. But that was not the problem. So just like, oh, my foot hurts. So we decided to go see the doctor in a hospital in Taiwan. Just by coincidence, okay, I'm not able to see a heart doctor there because the heart doctor in the U.S. seems not very caring, because of the problems that we have going on in the U.S. So it's like, okay, we'll go check out the heart doctor in Taiwan. But the whole point was just go to the hospital and see Jill's foot because she was feeling painful. And just by luck, we went to see the heart doctor in Taiwan. So basically, quick test, do a heartbeat, nothing unusual. The doctor wanted to do more tests in that case. Say, okay, fine, we'll do one more test tomorrow. He wanted me to do a stress test, which was walk on the treadmill and check my heart monitor at the same time. The doctor said, well, there's still something going on there. We went to one more test. We were like, wow, we had to come back to the United States next week. I'm not sure we're going to have that time to do one more test. So we decided to do one more test. This test was like a heart exam, which is more extensive. They would inject the radioactive to the heart and determine how the heart flows, blood's flowing. So they did the test that day, and they said the results won't be ready until the next day, and will call us and let us know how it goes. We were packing to go back to southern Taiwan because we were getting ready to go back home in the United States. So we got a call the doctor. The doctor said, you need to come back to the hospital. There is some blockage that needs to be attended right away. We're like, we are planning to fly back to the United States. And the doctor says it's better for us not to fly out because the results, it's very serious. So at that point, we had to decide, do we stay another week to do more exams, or do we fly back and check it out back in the United States? I called my heart doctor. Like I said, he didn't really care much about what's going on. He said, it's okay to fly back to the United States, and he will check it out. Again, against the doctor's recommendation from Taiwan, we flew back to the United States. So on the day after we flew back, we went to see the doctor, and we tried to explain what the Taiwanese doctor was saying, that there are some images that are very dangerous or harmful. Again, the U.S. doctor is like, oh, no, it doesn't look that bad. So after 10, 20 minutes arguing to him that we should go see another opinion from another doctor, he finally agreed to let us go to see a ER doctor. No, actually not to see a ER doctor. He told us to go to the ER and just tell them you have a chest pain, and they will admit us to the intensive care. So that's what happened. We went there to the ER, get exam. And the doctors from that hospital, they said they need to do a heart. They had to inject the camera or something into my heart to determine what's going on because there's nothing they can say. So they scheduled the exam on, okay, we flew back on Monday. I had a visit, my doctor on Tuesday. We went to the ER on Wednesday. Yeah, on a Wednesday. And I had the heart exam on a Thursday. On the Thursday when we had the heart exam, the doctor says, I'm in, what do you call it? I can have any heart attack at any moment, so I should not leave the hospital. So from that 1 week, let's see, I had a heart surgery on the Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was on Thursday. They told me that my heart was about to give up. So again, the U.S. doctor that we had been seeing for 5 years was not really focused on what was going on. So now, this heart condition could have killed me any day, basically according to the doctors. So it was lucky for me to have followed Jill to the hospital in Taiwan because I was just traveling on vacation. I was not thinking about going to see a doctor in Taiwan at all. So something that caused Jill's foot to be painful made us to go to see a Taiwanese doctor to have this condition checked. So I guess that is lucky that we found the heart condition. I'm not sure how to express, but I'm very grateful that we have all this happening to us. Yes, we have a home tape at home. We do offerings morning and evenings. We follow the ways taught to us. The entire family is vegetarian. We try to do our best we can. With this quarantine that's going on right now. Well, I'm a developer, so I work from home pretty often. So for me, working from home, it's not a big change. But yes, having the kids at home playing video games when they're supposed to be doing work can frustrate us. So it's a challenge, but we're adapting to it. And that's my Dao cultivation. There's a lot more stories, but I will take a whole lot more time than I'm taking right now.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah. You say lucky. Yeah. There are no coincidences, I guess. I mean, things happen because, our sincerity and faith, if you will, sincerity and faith heaven knows, this is, it can elicit some kind of response from heaven. And so, going to the hospital and being able to see the heart doctor to diagnose this problem, I don't know, you can say it's, it's not just being lucky, okay?
I was lucky, I don't know, I was going there for vacation.
Yeah, Eddison and Jill, I know, thanks for the mercy of God and the holy teachers, all the Buddha. This is not lucky. Once we cultivate, and this is marketing, once we cultivate more and more and more, okay, you're going to see that Buddhas will send us a lot of hints, a lot of warnings. They try to save us. I know you guys also had an auto accident on Route 78 in New Jersey. Right when you just joined the temple in the beginning.
Yeah, that's another story.
That's the other big. So many now during our cultivation, you're gonna hear so many. We all went through so many stories. That's what make us be here today. Okay, so it's not just lucky because a lot of warning, a lot of affinities with Buddhas, they're gonna take the opportunity to tell us, to give us a hint. So in your case, it worked out beautifully. We are very lucky to have all of you, and because we don't want to see that. That could happen to anyone else. Yeah. But the more we cultivate, the more sincere we are, you're going to feel the love from the Buddha, all of the hints, all of the hints they gave to us every day. So we receive the message or not? So thank you for the beautiful story you have, and then beautiful and a great result coming out. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Edison. Okay, so next, is it Karen?
Hello, is it me?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, before time, huh?
Okay, so I don't have a grand story to share or like grand truths to share. So I will just talk about, I guess, my start and where I am now. So a little background about me. So my name is Karen Du, and I am born and raised in New York. I'm in New York right now. I'm 26 years old, and currently I'm a teacher, and also I'm in grad school getting my master's in bilingual education. Okay, so I am one of those kids who grew up in the temples. So I received the Tao so long ago that I can't remember. And my parents didn't really get into the temple until I was a little bit older. I think maybe like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And at that point, you're like a little bit angsty. And so I was also like the eldest of my siblings. And so I was kind of the one taking charge in like pushing back. Like I hated going to the temple and I thought it was so boring and I didn't get it. And my mom is pretty strict. And so I think that only added to like all the reasons why I didn't want to go. But I was forced to go. I went, and then it was only until maybe I was maybe like 11th, 12th grade that I don't really know exactly like what was the turning point, but at a certain point, I guess things just started making a little more sense in that things stopped being theories and started becoming like actionable items, right? Like things that I could apply to my real life, and then it worked. And I could see why the temple was recommending those things. So for example, like, if somebody cuts you off, like you're driving and somebody cuts you off, your first reaction may be like to like curse them out and be like, what's wrong with you? Like you're a terrible driver. And then I remember transmitter Lynn saying like, well, when that happens to you, like instead of getting angry, maybe one way to feel better is to think about, oh, like what if the person cutting in front of me, is in a medical emergency? Like somebody's pregnant in the back of their car, needs to get to the hospital, right? Like, just really concrete things like that, I think started making a lot of sense to me. And then when I went off to college, that was my first time, obviously without my family. And I guess I must have internalized a lot of the Tao principles, even though I kept saying I hated it. But I must have internalized it over the 8 years, because when I was in college, I found that I was conducting myself like with my friends and my studies, and just with people around me in a, I guess you can say, Tao-friendly way. And that got me, I think it served me well. Like, all the friends I made in college were really great people. Like, I didn't do or make mistakes that I would regret, like big mistakes that people usually make in college, right? I was lucky enough to never have made any of those really big mistakes. But I think like one thing that I've struggled with or come to realize is that as a young person living in America, following the Tao principles, it's kind of lonely in that there's not a lot of young people like me, right? Even just like being like a vegan, it's more and more of a popular trend now. But I mean, back when I was in college, like nobody was, right? And I didn't drink. And that was a big social deterrent when I was in college. Luckily, like I am very extroverted and very outgoing, so that pulled me through. But it's been a challenge in that way, and I can see why some of these principles and practices that are pretty strict actually is a big turnoff for young people in America.
And but luckily my family's in here, and then I met Christine and Eric, who I believe are also on this call, and we kind of just grew up together, and keep each other going in terms of being doing the things that we feel are right, even if other people don't follow. So I have three areas of my life that I've found are easier for me to practice the Tao. And then I also have 3 challenges I'm facing as a young person. So the 3 areas in my life I feel are easier for me to practice Tao is, number 1, the vegetarian part. So I made the vegetarian vow when I was 21, and it's been great since then. And I feel really happy that the trend that people are moving towards for like environmental, political, health reasons is being vegetarian. And so I think it's really great that like my friends can see that I'm a vegetarian, but I'm physically active and I'm going to school and I'm doing pretty well for myself. So that, and then the second way is filial piety. And being like a good sibling. So I have 3 younger sisters, and I live with my parents now. We all live together now for quarantine, and it's tricky. Like Jill says, right? Like your family is like the hardest people to get along with sometimes. So I feel like that's been a really good way for me to practice the Tao, right? Like being patient with my family, and cooking for my parents even when I feel really lazy. And then the third way is, so Lecturer Kai just gave a lecture and talked about like valuing yourself as the world, right? Like practicing altruism. And so luckily for me, that's like shaped my career and the things I pursue now. So for example, like I'm a teacher, but I'm not really a teacher for like fame or money. Actually like I make like too little money. So it's a struggle for those external things. Like, money is important, right? Like I need to have savings. But I think it's worthwhile in that at least I'm comfortable with myself. Like if the world was ending tomorrow, which it seems like it very might well be with how 2020 is going, I wouldn't have any regrets about that, because I feel like I've pursued a career that I find worthwhile, and I'm part of a lot of like volunteer initiatives, and like why, right? And I think it's just because it's just been ingrained in me that if I live a life for other people, like that's how I'm going to be happy. And then my 3 struggles right now, the first one is ambition. So as a young person, in America, right, you're expected to do really big things, right? You're expected to be working 24/7. You're expected to be part of the race. If you don't, like have a savings and a family and a house by 30, like you're a failure, right? Like you need to move out of your home and have your own, place, like all those things. And even though I was raised in a Tao family and my parents don't give me any pressures to be a certain way, I'm still influenced by the environment, right? I feel like I need to get my name out there. And so that's something that I've been struggling with. Like as I, reach my late 20s and I want to make my own way. Like right now I'm like part of I'm running a nonprofit, and that's very exciting, but I have to ask myself, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for other people? Right? Like attaining greatness is not tied to money, fame, or status. So I guess that's something I'm still wrestling with. The second thing I struggle with is this pandemic. It's like making me feel really like I have nowhere to go. And as a young person, I think that's very anxiety inducing because you're still trying to find your way, right? You don't have a set life or a set career yet. And so the fact that that's all been taken away from you is like really scary to me. So as a teacher, like I don't even know if my school will be open in the fall. I don't even know like what my teaching life will look like in September. And so kind of worrying or planning for my future and also learning to enjoy life day by day is something that's very hard for me. And finally, my last struggle is finding contentment, which is related to the second thing, in that I always feel like my happiness was tied to getting the next thing, right? Like, okay, I got into grad school, I was really happy, and now I can go to grad school. Or, oh, I got my first job or my second job. Oh, that's what I'm working towards. Or having a certain amount of money in the bank. Oh, that's my goal. But now that everything's so uncertain, and that the country is in a bad state right now, it's like, how do I find contentment even if I don't have any of those things to look towards or work towards? Like, how can I stay at home all day, every day, for months at a time and find contentment and direction? So, yeah, sorry if I was just rambling a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Thank you for listening to my sharing.
Okay, all right.
Karen's beautiful. I know you're a beautiful person. I'm talking about inside, correctly. Also, you got beautiful sisters and then family. Well, congratulations for to cultivate. I know a couple comments I want to make here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric and Jude, the Christine went through the same thing you guys went through. Okay, especially one thing we talk about that to cultivate for me, I'm over 65. And I've been going through my career. And I took my early retirement just to come to get out from state to come to Texas. Okay. But when we are young, we have a lot of ambition, goal, we want to achieve. Okay. But we need, if you ask what I think today, say, when we are young, I would say, just sit down and regroup. Like all the teachers mentioned last week, just regroup and think about what important things in our life. So it's a good opportunity to reflect it, to think about it. And just take one thing at a day, one day at a time. So this time we try to learn patience. Why have America, we do not have that. That's why yesterday, Florida broke the record with 15,000 people got infected. 15,000 a day got it. So because America, we do not learn that. We need to learn very patient, calm down, just take one thing at a time. Don't rush. Okay? So that's what I think today. And then pursue your career. You got beautiful career ahead of you. Yeah, beautiful. And then one thing a day, one time a day. Don't think too much. Sometimes we worry too ahead. Try to compete with others because peer pressure. I had the same problem when I was in business school. All my classmates want to be a big shot. But when I look back, right, now, what do we want? So sometimes just think about it, okay? It's a good opportunity to think, sit down and then relax and enjoy this time. When we look back this period in our life, this is one of the best time we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Karen,
Yes.
it's Christine's mama.
Yeah, I know.
I cannot believe you're 26 already.
Yeah.
You're so young. You're a little angel. Hey, I just want to share with you because our holy teacher says, if you are so dedicated with Tao and you don't know how to take care of yourself, they will always next to you and take care of you because you're so sincere. Okay? If you're too smart, you know how to plan yourself very well, then they don't need to take care so much to you. Okay? I just want to share with you. I just recall teacher did say that. Thank you.
You say that if we take care of the living beings, Buddha will take care of us. If we have to take care of ourselves, Buddha do not need to take care of us. Got it?
Yeah. So,
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So actually, as long as we're doing the right thing. Okay. So we should know kind of what's the right thing, and learning in all the classes that we've been through in the Tao. As long as we do the right thing, we don't have to be too ambitious. We just do the right thing, and like Judy says, heaven will take care of things for us. Okay, so I can testify to that myself. I realize that when we're younger, yes, there are a lot of things that we wish or wish for or whatever. But if we can learn contentment, I mean, then things will fall into place, and we don't really have to try that hard. Okay, so but our our heart and mind has to be in the right place. Okay, so all right, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so who's well, I don't know. Is it Ashley?
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Dew. I am the sister of Karen, who just shared. I am currently 22 years old. Sorry, my birthday was recent. So I'm currently 22 years old, and I just graduated undergrad from Stony Brook University, and I majored in social work there, which I really love. So just like Karen, I was brought into the Tao at a very, very young age. I think I received the Tao when I was a baby, like almost a newborn, and then I received it again because I think I was sleeping during the process. So I basically received it 2 times in my life. So like Karen, I grew up in the Tao, grew up in the temple, and like her, I was very opposed to it in the very beginning, just because number one, I feel like a lot of things were forced on me, like Jean, or like reading the sutra. I felt like my mom told me to do it every Saturday and every Sunday, and I was like, oh, like what's the point of reading it if I don't understand it? And like the Chinese is so complex. And then just like overall, I didn't really like coming to the temple every Sunday. But then that slowly changed as I got older. And as I got like more involved in the world and involved in school and with other people and stuff, I realized that Tao ideals are universal. Like they're like following the middle path is such a universal thing and can be applied in every single situation. And it's so difficult. I've had so many instances in my life where, I always tell myself, always be in the middle. Don't lean to one side too much. In the end, I end up leaning on one side too much, and I end up hurting myself and other people and stuff like that. So through these like various life processes and life experiences, I've learned to really embrace, I guess, like my spirituality and embrace other people's spirituality as well, because the Tao is about being open-minded and being able to learn from everyone as much as possible, while also maintaining that like true inner self-worth, and embodying your true Buddha nature. So because of, I guess, my Taoist upbringing, I think it's really led me to have a very strong self-image and to have very strong moral values. I think that growing up in the Tao community really helped me find, I guess, like my life career goal, which is to become a social worker and to advocate for vulnerable populations and vulnerable communities. And I'm really, really passionate about that. And I really, ground myself in helping others or being that agent of change. And I don't think I would have developed that kind of mindset without going to the temple every single Sunday and reading the sutra every single Sunday and interacting with everyone at the temple. So right now I am, I guess, I'm applying to grad school. That is my goal. Of course, I know that that is not my end goal at the end of the day. So I want to go to grad school, and I want to help as many people as possible. And also being vegetarian, I'm trying to become vegan eventually. That's my end goal. But right now I am vegetarian, and I think that having these these vegetarian mindsets, or like valuing all life kind of thing, that has really helped me also ground myself in, I guess, everything that is happening in the world right now. I believe that everything that happens to me for a reason. I believe that every single person I've met is because of karma. All my good friends in college are actually vegetarian and vegan, which is so surprising to me. But I met them on the first day of freshman year in college, and we've stuck around for 5 years. So I think that really is a testament to how strong karma is. I also believe that, the first person I brought to temple was my ex-boyfriend, and then I got him to receive the Tao, and then shortly after we broke up. So I really do believe that like with the karma between me and him, it was truly just so I could get him to receive the Tao, and then that's it. Like we karma did that, and then and then the second person I brought in to receive the Tao is my vegan friend, and she is Korean, and she is so strongly vegan that just looking at her and watching her embodying these vegan ideals really inspires me as well. And that was the second person I brought in to receive the Tao. So all of these people that I've met, they've all connected to me in very similar or like very peculiar ways, but that still work. So I'm just really, I guess, really glad that I ended up, embracing these ideals and making sure that I follow them. And they have really, I guess, contributed to a major portion of who I am today. Thank you.
Wow,
Yeah.
great. Actually, you grew up already. Wow, we watch you. This is Mark. We watch you. You are a little girl with all your sisters. I couldn't believe already college. We graduated from college.
Yeah, I didn't realize that too.
But it's beautiful. It's good to attend the Tao classes when you're so young. You can adopt this one and you can grow up in the Tao family. But not everybody has this to be fortunate like that. Only a few percent of people going to receive Tao when they're young and then continue to cultivate. So congratulations for you and your family. The other thing I want to talk about, we talk about karma. We should use affinity more than karma, because affinity is a better word from Chinese point of view. That's what we usually say. Karma is kind of because we have a karma we have to cultivate or what we have to do. Affinity is a good affinity. We try to continue, or we have a bad affinity. We want to turn to the good affinities. So for me, I always use affinity as much as I can. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, a question, Ashley. When you brought your friends to receive the Tao, I mean, was that difficult to do?
Yes. So my vegan friend, she was, I guess, she was exploring her spirituality, and she was looking into Christianity and Hinduism and Buddhism, and she was just really interested in finding something that fit for her. So from the very beginning, she was very open-minded, and she saw that I went to temple every Sunday, and I would drive back home from Stony Brook, and she was really interested, and she asked me a bunch of questions, and then I guess the conversation just naturally progressed, and then I ended up asking her, oh, do you want to actually, come to temple with me on Sunday and just see what everything's about? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And she really, I guess, connected with the topic that we were discussing in class. I think it was Jean Ai who was lecturing that day, and she really liked the topic that she was talking about. So she really felt like she was connected to it.
Has she attended Dharma classes?
Not yet. I was going to ask her to attend for this spring, but then coronavirus happened. So
Yeah. Next Dharma classes.
yes, but yes, I want to bring her into Dharma class.
Yeah. Have you met vegetarian vows yet?
I have not. I wanted to during this Dharma class, and then coronavirus happened.
Okay. Just work on this direction. I think to make a vegetarian vow is big different from if we don't make vegetarian vow. It's big difference. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can talk about the big difference next time. Because when we do the good things, good deeds, good merits, we only receive 50% of them if we don't do it. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Not because we just want merit, because there's a big difference for our ancestors and all our karma creditors. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, hey, your little sister already took the vow, so.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so all right, is Rochelle gonna do it, or we can go next time? All right, so why don't you just go ahead then?
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Rochelle. I am 22. I'm Ashley's twin. I am from the New York Temple. And so my story is similar to all my sisters. So I guess I can start with my vegetarian process, I guess. Yeah, because that being a vegetarian is what changed my life the most. So yeah, like I started out loving meat. I remember my parents still go to temple on Wednesdays, and when I was really young, like 6 or 7 or something, my parents brought me to temple on Wednesday, and it was time to eat dinner, but I didn't like anything that the temple served, so I like grew fit. And then my dad like was forced to take me to McDonald's, and I got a cheeseburger. And I remember that the cheeseburger tasted so good, but like at the back of my mind, I was like, "This is so like I should be eating temple food." Like I had to force my dad to go outside, spend money, and buy meat. When he's trying to become, when we're trying to become vegetarian family. So after that incident, I was like, that really like shifted my perspective. And so I think I really started taking vegetarianism seriously in 6th and 7th grade, because that was when I started to transition. And it was really hard at first, of course, because I loved eating meat. I loved eating all types of meat, but like my mom kept reminding me that, like, yeah, like you like the taste of meat, but at the same time, remember, like, how does the meat end up on your plate? Like, what are you eating? Do you even know how the meat is being made? Do you even know, like, what the animals go through? And so, like, I watched the video, the slaughterhouse video that was shown in English class, and that was when I got really traumatized, and I was like, okay, I'm stopping eating meat. And so I like really finally made the transition in 7th grade. I think I like made the full transition to stop eating meat. And ever since then, I feel a lot happier and a lot lighter, because I'm not eating so much meat. I'm not feeling so heavy and bloated, and I feel like, I don't know, vegetables just make me feel better, because like no animals were hurt in the production of vegetables. So yeah, so that's my vegetarian process. And also last summer, I brought, I think, 5 of my friends over to temple to receive the Tao. And I considered them good friends. So I thought that they would be more open to receiving the Tao, or like to the principles that my temple teaches, because it's just like, like basic principles, like how to be a good human, how to be compassionate, like that. But when I brought my friends into temple, I was kind of surprised, because I found that they weren't really receptive to what the temple taught them. I feel like it's also because they felt it was like too much like sitting in a classroom and lecturing, hearing the lectures, and it seems like it's like a college classroom. But in reality, it's like so much more. Like the teaching is way more profound and deep than what college teaches you. But I think just the atmosphere and the ambiance just kind of threw them off. And then when I asked them, "Oh, are you interested in to receive the Tao?" they felt like very, not pressured, but they felt like, "Oh, like I don't know what I'm signing myself up for, so I'm not going to do it." And of course, like I was like, "Okay, yeah, I respect your decision. It's completely fine. It's up to you." At the same time, I was also kind of like they know that I've been going to temple for years. They know that my principles, my morals, my beliefs are so like profoundly based on what I've learned in temple, and yet I feel like they just, I don't know, they didn't really resonate with it that well, and so only one of them received the Tao out of the 5 of them. But I don't know, I tried my best, and I'm glad that I've exposed them to like the temple and what I love going to these past few years. So I'm glad that I exposed them to that. I was just a little shocked that they weren't more open to it, but like maybe they thought it was too religious, and they themselves are not very like devout or religious either. So yeah, that was just my experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it could be very well that what they heard wasn't exactly what they needed to hear at the time in the class or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's a process. Okay, it's introducing Tao to people is a process. It's not like, oh, you invite them to the temple one day and you expect them to receive the Tao. That's not necessarily the case. And so we have to kind of, it can take time. It can take years even. But gradually, as they you gain their trust, things like that, and you understand where they're at, what their view of life and everything, and how we can talk in different ways to them. So that the Friday's class I talked about Tao and religion, and Tao is actually very, if they're worried that it's too religious, it's actually very secular in practice. Okay, so but anyways, yeah. So this is something that hopefully as we learn more, we have greater wisdom and experience that we'll be able to do better in trying to talk to people, introduce Tao to people. But usually it should be from a Wu way. I mean, there is some there is some, of course, intention in wanting someone to receive the Tao, but generally we should follow the kind of the flow, the Sui Yuan aspect is just whatever the affinity is, we just go with that. All right.
Good. You go.
Can I just add one thing? This is Christine.
Go ahead.
Just to add on to that, it's like I truly believe that when your time has arrived to receive Tao, it really shouldn't be difficult. Like you shouldn't have to push people to go out of their way to receive it. Like when they hear it, they'll naturally be interested and want to hear more about it. And so those 4 of your 5 friends, probably just their time is not ready. But because you brought it up this lifetime, maybe in a future time, or they'll have that seed planted and they'll be ready next time.
Yeah. One thing Holy Teacher always mentioned is, this is Mark, we went through the same thing in Texas and other locations. Just do it. Don't even think about the result. They're going to receive that or not receive that. Those are not important at all. So if we do our part, we do our job. Then they can receive Tao or they cannot receive Tao are based on their affinities with Tao. So we always say they got to cultivate 3 lifetimes, at least 3 lifetimes before people can receive Tao. So we just do our job and then don't worry about the result. Here we went through the same thing with Texas. We could visit, I think, the Jessica or the other people, Amy, the transmitter Long, everybody or master the transmitter G. They all went through the same thing. We are here, we're facing 100 people. We talk to 100 people. Not even one will receive that. That's what we are facing here today. Okay? But one thing we talk about ourselves, we are not worried about result. We just do our job. So one thing that when we cultivate, when the people receive that, we don't force people to do that. We just follow the affinity, follow the flow of affinities. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are beautiful. I tell you, we love you. Mm-hmm.
Another thing, the way heaven comes is when the people receive Tao, you get 100 credit. Okay, if they don't, you still get 50. Yeah, for sure, we don't want to count what merit we have, but keep bringing people. At least you get 50. Okay, good job, you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, heaven right. Don't. Yeah, always pretty fair. Yeah. Just keep doing what we are doing, okay?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you can say it's the intention or whatever that matters, and the effort, the sincerity and effort. Yeah. Okay. All right. So since we're still here, I don't know. Does Cindy want to share?
I could if everybody is willing to offer a little bit more of their time.
Yeah, might as well. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Cindy.
Cindy. Yeah.
I'm currently 20 years old. I'm the youngest of the two sisters, the few that just shared. So, my Tao journey started the same as them. Like, our parents forced us to come, and we didn't really like it. I would say especially, me, Ashley, and Rochelle, because we were so young that we had no choice but to, come to temple, and all we would do is, read sutra, memorize it, and we didn't learn the meanings behind it either. So to us, it was just we didn't really understand what we were doing, even though we were forced to do it. So, this happened for quite some time. And then, as I started getting older, I started going to English class, and our family also got a home temple. So I feel like this was one of the turning points in my Tao cultivation journey, because, my parents started teaching us things, and they told us the weight of having a family temple.
And in addition, you know, like as I got older, I really just loved to learn everything and like all subjects and all aspects. So the things I was learning in English class were so interesting to me. It just made me more curious about the Tao, you know, like the underlying principles and the teachings. They were all simple sounding. They were hard to do, but simple sounding. And also that like everything made sense. There was nothing that didn't have an explanation behind it to me. And also, you know, the more that I learned, the more I went to temple, and the more I find myself applying these principles and teachings in my life, such as catching myself when I was, you know, getting very angry or like not focusing too much on a materialistic world. Even when I was like really down, like emotionally not in the best place, I knew that this life wasn't the end, and like I should always be striving to return back to my original self, to be helping the community around me, the people around me, and that all this was temporary. So I feel like, you know, those things that I learned really just helped me to like guide me out of like one of the darkest places in my life that I experienced. Also, you know, like the Tao, it has not only helped me in the aspect of cultivating myself, but I guess you could say like physically as well, because, you know, one time we went snowboarding as a family, and then I wasn't wearing a helmet at that time. I was like speeding really fast down the hill. And then I fell really hard on my head, and I actually blacked out on the mountain. But then I woke up, and like we went to the infirmary, but nothing really happened. And I knew that was because the Buddhists were protecting me, because I had no helmet. I was going down so fast, and there was no way that, you know, like I would have had no problems even after I got like this concussion. So the Tao has been like, it's just like, I feel like it's just always there with me. It's just always been like a major part of my life, and I can't really imagine my life without it. It's been like, I would say like 16 years for me in the Tao. Basically, my whole life, I've been going to temple every single week, and my family is also in the temple, so it's just like a very integral part of my life. Maybe it's because I've been in the temple in the Tao for so long that it's just a very natural process for me. You know, I haven't encountered any super major problems with cultivating or following the Tao. Of course, it's still very hard to adhere to the principles I'm learning because, you know, like, we're all humans and we're not perfect, but I'm trying every day to become better and better. As for being a vegetarian, I've been a vegetarian since I was 4 and took the vegetarian vow last year, which was very, very exciting. I was always like so sure about taking this vow ever since I was in middle school. I just felt like it was just something that I had to do or that I wanted to do. You know, like when I was young, I never really liked meat in the first place, and I was also a little allergic to seafood. So when my parents became vegetarian, I also decided to become a vegetarian too. And I remember I was in like this fancy barbecue meat restaurant with a bunch of family friends, and at that moment, I suddenly decided to just not eat meat. I ran over to my mom, and she was like so overjoyed. But yeah, at the time, I didn't really understand why being a vegetarian was good for you. I kind of just did it. But, you know, as I went to temple, I learned more about the reasoning behind it, like the karma, and also just like being a compassionate human being. I really understood that being a vegetarian or vegan was like something so important that everybody should be striving for. In terms of my experience bringing people into the Tao, for me, for all the people that I brought in, they all came because they were my super close friends, and they trusted me, they respected me. You know, they saw how I was in my daily life. They saw that I was more mature than other people, and they valued the advice I gave them whenever they encountered problems. And when they asked me, oh, like, why am I like this? How was like my thought process so mature? I tell them that temple, the Tao, played a huge factor in how I am today. So when I invite them to come, they are very willing to come. And then, you know, after listening to classes, they could see how I have applied those principles in my daily life. And then they become like very willing to receive the Tao again. Like all of the friends that I have brought to temple all received the Tao, which was really surprising. And, you know, like I'm just so grateful that they trust me this much. And even 2 of them that I brought in, they, you know, came to Dharma class. So that was also so exciting. I was like over the moon that they were willing to come. But yeah, and like all in all, my Tao cultivation journey has been smooth for the most part, no major bumps. And maybe just because I am super young and I haven't really encountered any of those like very serious life problems yet. But it's just like kind of been naturally integrated into my life. I'm really just like super happy to be able to have this kind of community behind me.
and also just learning things that I would never ever learn from anyone else in like any kind of institution whatsoever. You know, it has even influenced my career choice and wanting to become a doctor. My 2 years that I've spent in college so far, they were definitely not easy, and there were times when, you know, I just like wanted to give up completely because it was just like so hard, and I was just like, I asked myself, oh, like, why am I doing this to myself? You know, I see all these other people like go out and have fun while I'm just in my room studying. But then, you know, I think back to why I'm really here and like why, and like I should be helping people, you know. And since I also had a very big interest in medicine as well, I was like, this is a path that I must continue on, right? I must go on. This is my calling, you know. That's how I really felt. So, you know, I know that it's only gonna get harder from here, but I know that like I have an end goal to me. So it's the motivation is there to get me through these type of things. And also, you know, I haven't really run into any major problems with people. Like, my friends tell me all these stories about, you know, how they had, like, this fight with their friends and, like, all this drama in their life. And then when it comes to me and I share something, it's like, and, like, this seems so boring and, like, platonic. You know, I never really meet any of these kind of problems, which is good. You know, it just, like, I feel like just being the Tao, it just, you know, like, takes away a lot of the obstacles that normal people would experience. So the Tao is like something priceless and invaluable to me, and you know, like I feel like I'm so appreciative and grateful to be able to be in the Tao. And yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so that's I mean, yeah, all you know, all you sisters, your whole family is all beautiful. You know, it's like it's yeah. That I mean, there are very few. Let's put it this way: there are very few families like this. You know, anywhere. You know, in the Tao. So there's definitely cherish this affinity that you guys have with each other. And, but yeah, so well, yeah, yeah, your goal, you know, to be a doctor, yeah, it's definitely not easy, and you know, if it's you're doing it for the right reason, you know, to help people, and that's good. And hopefully, I don't know if you can, you know, you'll be able to use the Tao or you know the principles, the philosophies in you know, in your career, that would be the best. And, you know, because, well, actually, I mean, we can treat people's bodies, I mean, their health, physical health, but also the mental side, the spiritual side, you know, that's a big part of it too, in terms of our health. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah, of course.
Okay, so good.